Join us on this journey as we delve into the struggles and triumphs of the 10 poorest countries in Asia. From the impacts of conflict and political instability to the challenges posed by natural disasters and economic vulnerabilities, each of these nations has a unique narrative that deserves our attention and empathy. Number 10. Myanmar. About 26% of Myanmar's population lives in poverty, particularly in rural areas, where about 70% of the population lives. The main factors contributing to slow economic growth are poor government planning and the lack of foreign investment, a large trade deficit, and inadequate infrastructure and know-how to take advantage of the country's natural resources. In addition, the significant political unrest and rebellion strikes against the military junta. Number 9. Timor Leste. Having just become independent from Indonesia in 2002, this half-island nation in the South Pacific, which could easily be considered part of Oceania rather than Asia, is still developing. While Timor-Leste, also called East Timor, exports substantial amounts of coffee, as well as marble, sandalwood, and a growing amount of oil and gas, many of its citizens still rely upon subsistence farming. A rudimentary legal system, a low but improving adult literacy rate, and a particularly poor telecommunications infrastructure are often cited as additional impediments to economic growth. Number 8. Pakistan. Although Pakistan is very rich in natural resources, about 40% of its population lives in extreme poverty. Reasons for this dysfunction include governmental corruption and elitism, religious and secular conflict, and a lack of democratic ideals. The country also spends the largest part of its national budget on defense, allocating only 2.6% of its total GDP to education. As a result, roughly half of Pakistan's people are uneducated. Number 7. Kyrgyzstan is the 5th poorest country in Asia. About 32% of Kyrgyzstan's population lives below the poverty line. The largest causes of poverty in Kyrgyzstan are its dependence on agriculture and the gaps in knowledge and resources among its people. Kyrgyzstan also has few natural resources that are desirable to the rest of the world and can only export cotton and tobacco. Additionally, many areas of Kyrgyzstan lack adequate banking and financial services, which prevents people from investing and hinders economic growth. Number 6. Nepal. Nepal's poverty stems from political instability and corruption, a lack of industry, and its dependence on agriculture. Despite being rich in natural resources, Nepal has not utilized and capitalized on them by exporting them to other countries. Moreover, discrimination based on ethnicity, caste, and gender, and citizens living in rural parts of Nepal face a lack of access to adequate healthcare, education, and other resources. Violence continues to plague the country, particularly towards women. Number 5. Syria. Syria rarely shares official economic data, so economists must rely on their best estimates, which paint a bleak picture. About 80% of Syrians lived at or below the poverty level as of 2017, a 45% increase since 2007. The main cause of the sharp rise in poverty is the Syrian civil war, which has destroyed healthcare infrastructure and educational facilities. Education is one of the best ways out of poverty, and roughly 50% of Syrian children no longer attend school because of the conflict. In recent years, Syria has also experienced very high levels of inflation, which reached its highest level of 121.29% in 2014. Number 4. Tajikistan. By nearly any measure, Tajikistan consistently ranks as the 2nd or 3rd poorest country in Asia. A lack of infrastructure causes Tajikistan's economy to stagnate. Many skilled people go abroad to search for better work opportunities, leaving Tajikistan with one of the world's largest remittance economies. Additionally, Tajikistan's civil war during the 1990s destroyed approximately 1/5 of schools in the country, taking away children's ability to receive an education, one of the largest factors in reducing poverty. Number 3. Yemen. Yemen is ranked 183rd out of 191 countries on the United Nations 2021-22 Human Development Index, HDI, which indicates that Yemen is one of the world's least developed nations. Yemen's poverty stems from its ongoing civil war, corruption, and economic mismanagement. Because of the civil war, more and more Yemen residents are falling below the poverty line. About 79% of the population lives under the poverty line, and 65% are classified as extremely poor. Number 2. North Korea. North Korea is potentially the most economically challenged country in Asia, but due to its government's notorious secrecy, economists must rely on expert estimates rather than official data. The prevalence of poverty in North Korea is attributed to inadequate governance by the totalitarian regime, which severely restricts the presence of a free market. As of 2020, it is estimated that approximately 60% of North Korea's population lives below the poverty line, with starvation remaining a persistent systemic issue. Reports in 2021 indicated widespread instances of famine. Notably, North Korea allocates a substantial portion of its budget to developing nuclear weapons and ballistic missiles, prioritizing military endeavors over the well-being and prosperity of its citizens. Number 1. Afghanistan. This mountainous nation is burdened by ongoing armed conflict, government corruption, and prolific income inequality. After the United States and United Nations withdrew their troops in mid-2021, the Taliban retook control of Afghanistan's government. The long-term impact of this change on Afghanistan's economic situation has yet to be seen. However, the Taliban's ongoing conflicts with ISIL, its forcible shuttering of female-owned businesses, and refusal to allow girls to attend school are widely viewed as conditions unlikely to lead to a more robust and stable economy.